So here's a project you can do to use up a lot of your really small scraps. This little book is a needle holder. I've simply used some of my scrap fabric sewed together and some small pieces of batting. Now I can put this book in my bag with all of my hand needles. Easy to find. I'm starting with 2 pieces of scrap batting and I have them on top of my wool mat. I am going to now take 2 rectangles of fabric. These are fabrics I've already prepared, sewed a bunch of my little scraps together, and then cut them into 2 rectangles that are roughly 3 inches by 5 inches. Now the batting tape, I'm going to need to put the batting tape onto the seam in between those 2 scraps so that I can hold it together until I sew. All you do is you lay the batting tape down, you give it just a quick press, and it's now holding together long enough for you to sew that into a project. I'm going to place my rectangles on top, give it a little press. I'm going to now place my other rectangle on the bottom. I'm going to trim the batting after I have these on. It's just a quick way to know exactly how much you need without having to measure it. And so once I have these together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim those off. Using the batting tape I find is a real advantage. That way I can use all of the tiniest pieces of batting, no matter how small, in my small projects. I always have a stack of these leftovers that I put to the side. Now I'm taking the rectangles and I'm putting them right sides together on top of the batting. This is going to be the position we use to sew these together. And I'm going to choose some thread to match my project. Using a straight stitch, I'm going to sew all the way around the outer borders, all 4 sides, but I am going to leave about 2 to 3 inch opening so that I can turn this inside out when I am done. It's really satisfying to be able to do these small projects and use all of my scraps. This is going to be something that is going to be very useful to me every day when I'm sewing. I'm now ready to turn this piece inside out, and when I do, the batting will be on the inside and both of the sides, the sewn pieces, will be on the outside. Now today I'm just going to use a regular pencil to get those corners out. Works very well. Something small like this, it's really pretty easy. And you want to be sure not to push too far so you don't distort the corners by pushing them out too far. You want to have a nice rectangular shape. This edge here, I'm going to fold those 2 sides in, and then when I top stitch all the way around, I will be able to catch that seam and it will close together. I will be top stitching very close to the edge so as to make sure that I get that small seam closed. You want to take a few minutes with the ironing just to make sure you get those 2 sides ready for, get them even and together. I missed a corner. We're going to put that out. Okay. I'm giving a good press because the flatter it is, the more accurate your sewing is going to be. And the mat that I have underneath that is just one that I made to put my sewing machine on, and I can also iron on it. Okay, so now I'm ready to sew. Now, like I said, I'm going to go very close to the outside edge, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around. I'm going to start with that opening, and you can see it just takes a little bit of time. I'm going to make sure I've tucked in the pieces. I want to see a nice sharp edge there as I close it. And you can see I'm not even a 1/4 of an inch into the side of that seam. So we will finish this up all the way around. I need to prepare this piece now to put the batting in the middle. So what I want to make sure is I find that center point on the booklet. So I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to press it, give it a really good press, especially that middle fold, because we're going to use the pressed edge as a guide for sewing our batting into the middle. Now you're going to cut a piece of padding that's going to be a little bit smaller than your rectangle because you want this to stay inside the book. So once I have my piece, I'm going to center it. I'm going to use that fold that I can see in the middle that I pressed, and I am going to open it up and I'm going to sew exactly down that middle. I'm just going to give it one simple line of stitching. Right down the middle. And there you have it, a pretty book to keep all of my needles straight and organized.